Okay, part 8, I think. Sorry, I opened the window to smoke, so you might hear some background noise. What I wanted to go into quickly is the way Bennington died and the way Cornell died. Just kind of weirdness of the exact physical layout of their body. Cornell, a stretchy exercise band to where when you put it around your neck and you try and hang yourself, your butt hits the floor because it's a stretchy exercise band. So this man would have had to sit there on the floor or lean forward or something and choke his own self out while fighting the instinctive bodily urge to rip that off his neck or get your hand in there or something. He was able to do that. The huge spots of blood on the floor. Again, one medical expert explained it as the little blood vessels in the lungs and in this area burst and fill the throat up with blood because of an exercise band around the neck. I don't believe that personally. I don't like that opinion. It sounds like abject bullshit to me. Is it possible? I guess so. But there seemed to be a little bit too much blood there at the scene on the bathroom floor. Bothered me a little bit. So again, he's sitting on the bathroom floor, exercise band around the neck, attached to the door at the top. Door not completely closed, almost closed because the band and the hook are through the door at the top. Very strange scenario with a little bit too much blood for my liking, and it makes me wonder what really happened. And all the way back in the beginning, and someone tried to critique it again a few years ago and bring this up, that the hyoid bone was not broken on Chris Cornell. So they used that as evidence that there's no way he could have been strangled or choked. But I'm a guy who watches MMA sometimes. I'm not some huge fan. There are some interesting jiu-jitsu techniques you can learn. Philosophies. Like when someone's on top of you, instead of trying to push them off so they can get clearance to punch you while you're trying to push them off, you pull them into you and you hook your arm around their neck. So they have no room to punch you. They're going to be punching the ground until they get worn out. And then you move over to an arm bar and break their elbow. Very useful information if someone bigger than you ever attacks you and gets on top of you. Just that simple little technique. If you can just stay mentally focused enough, you'll probably win the fight. Anyway, just let them knock you down. Let them get on top of you. Then hook that shit till he gets all worn out trying to get out of it, get a punch in. And he tires out a little bit. Arm bar the arm. Any way you can. It's over. Anyway. So, in MMA, guys get choked out in about 5 seconds because they're expending energy while they're being choked, trying to get out of a choke. And they're in a fight with a lot of adrenaline and blood flowing. So when someone puts a chokehold on you from behind, and there's several different techniques that you cannot get out of once it's set in, it's over. And it's over in about 5 seconds. That's how fast someone goes out. So if you're under some delusion, if someone comes up and chokes you that strong from behind, that you're just going to last 2 minutes to fight them off, no, you're not. You probably last about 10 seconds. Because it's cutting oxygen and blood to the brain when it's sunk in. So you don't got a lot of time to fight back. So there are those type of choking techniques that a guy that, has military training and is in the security business would probably know. He'd probably know a little bit or a lot of jiu-jitsu and know what moves to use and what moves not to use. If I, without that type of training, know a few moves, I'm sure he knows more than I do, because that's his business. So there are ways of choking people out unconscious without breaking the hyoid bone. These guys that get choked out in MMA, their hyoid bones are not broken. And guess what? They go to sleep in about 5 seconds. So there's that. So the hyoid bone is irrelevant, in my opinion. I discounted that a long time ago because, again, I'm not a student, but I watch MMA sometimes. And I understand that jiu-jitsu is the superior technique because of the philosophies behind it. I watched Royce Gracie beat a guy that was over 300 pounds, Royce Gracie being 180 pounds. How do you do that? You can't do it with strength against a 350-pound man. You have to do it with this. That's what Royce Gracie did. And Gracie almost fell the fuck out after that because he's fighting something that's way stronger than he is physically. Anyway, that's what could have happened. Also, one of the very weird things is the state of the doors. Kirsten gets to the hotel room after the wife calls up and says, just go kick down the door. Not because the husband says, I'm going to kill myself or this or that. No, because the husband's yelling about a headache and he seemed a little agitated. That's the justification for calling a bodyguard and having him go kick down the door. That's the justification. Not Chris said on the phone, I'm going to kill myself. Nope, they've never said that. Ever. They've never even insinuated it. According to them, it's about the drugs. And Cornell had 2 Ativan in his system at the time of death. The equivalent of, I believe, 2 2-gram pills, which is the largest dose they give, I believe, is 2 grams apiece. Again, those numbers could be a little off. It's been years since I looked at it. But you basically get what I'm saying. Cornell had 2, the equivalent, in his bloodstream. I calculated it out. I did the math. I looked at it. I looked at the toxicologies and the amounts. Looked online, researched it. Figured out what this amount in his blood means. It means he had about 2 milligrammer pills in his system, in his bloodstream, at the time of death. He could have taken them he didn't necessarily take them when he got in the room. He could take them in the limo, whatever. Fully released already into his bloodstream too. That takes a little time. So something along the timeline doesn't add up with the Ativan. I've always thought that. And I've always wondered when he really took it. And was that just an excuse to get in the room? Because that was routine. Someone else holding Chris's pills because he's an ex-pill addict, allegedly. And as far as Chris being an addict, we've looked at that extensively. Where's all the out-of-control behavior, the addict behavior? I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was waking up in other people's homes because he mistakenly thought they were his house. You know, that's out-of-control behavior. I didn't see that with Cornell. I didn't hear any stories of him out of control on these pills, taking 2 or 3 a day. Oh my God. You know, he's a wild man. He's out of fucking control. Someone put a leash on that motherfucker. No, he wasn't. The amounts given by the estate that he was taking per day, not high amounts. For a guy that's 6'2", probably, close to 200 pounds. Or excuse me, he was like 6'5" or 6'4". What am I talking? 6'3". Very tall, big dude. 2 or 3 pills a day, nothing for a man of that size. I'm sorry. If he was taking 10 pills a day, all right, I'd say he's out of fucking control. 8 pills a day, all right, a little out of control. 6 pills, tiny bit out of control. No. Mostly 2 at bedtime, or maybe an extra one somewhere out throughout the day. From the numbers that we were given, that's it. That's an out-of-control addict? Doesn't sound like one. It's one of the most tame addict stories I've ever heard in my fucking life. So again, more weirdness. And then you get the argument, that dumbasses that just read headlines put out there. He had 7 drugs in his system. Yeah, one of them was like coffee. One of them was Narcan given by paramedics to stop opioid uptake or whatever, in case he took any opioids, which he didn't. He had a tiny bit of butalbital, which is a migraine kind of drug, to relieve migraine pain. He had the 2 Ativan, maybe some like sinus medicine. Like, I mean, this is a serious drug addict here. This is the toxicology of a serious drug addict. And then Cobain, since he had the reputation of a drug addict, let's dose him up to fucking outer space and claim he OD'd. You know what I mean? Because, you know, he's got the rep. Everyone will believe it, right? That he took a dose fit for, I don't know, 3 elephants? I doubt it. I doubt it. And if you do take a dose fit for 3 elephants, enough, the level, you inject that into your veins, you ain't doing nothing after that. You ain't picking nothing up, a gun, nothing. That's hitting your brain and bloodstream like that. Forget about it. You ain't doing shit. Now, if he was on a regular dose that a normal heroin addict would take, it'd be more believable, right? But the dose he took, and then pick up a shotgun and be strong enough to do whatever you got to do with it, very difficult to believe, in my opinion. Anyway, I'll probably go into one of the other dudes in the next video. Was this part 8? I don't know. I'll call the next one 9, I guess.